All right.
Is our individualism pulling us apart? And this is where that came from. I was having a conversation a little while ago, and what I'm kind of asking is the way we raise our kids. Are we raising our kids and setting ourselves up to remain individuals? And this is what I mean by that. We teach our youth, our young ones, to learn how to be self-sufficient. Meaning, we tell our little boys, learn how to cook, learn how to take care of yourself, so that you don't need a wife or a woman, right? That's what we tell them. We tell our little girls the same thing. Learn how to do for self, so that you don't need a mate. You don't need a man. By saying that, are we training our kids to not need the opposite race? And what are the consequences of that? I mean, I'm sorry, the opposite sex, to need a man or to need a woman. And what are the consequences of that as it relates to our family? What are your thoughts, Knight?
Well, I can only hit this question out of the experience I had with my kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've always raised my kids to do for self,
Right.
right?
Right.
Like especially my daughter.
Mm.
I don't want my daughter having to need no man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
She's going to medical school or you know, and all this stuff. If you ain't got your shit together, why she wanna need somebody that ain't doing what they gotta do? Like
Well,
that just makes kids or your kid be self-sufficient. That's not
right.
saying that you won't be attracted to someone or fall in love with someone, but that just means that you ain't gonna be taking no crap from nobody.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Like
Now,
because
okay.
you can stand on your own 2 feet.
Now, what the other thing that what I was wondering though, Knight, is that one of the things that, and tell me when you think that when I say something you disagree with. One of the things that I think keeps a marriage together is a need. It's a need. When we look at the way our parents were, maybe generations before, they stayed together. Part of it was because they needed each other. The man didn't know how to take care of himself for the most part. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't mean they would just fall off the face of the earth, but a man didn't cook. A man wasn't rearing the kids alone. That wasn't a strength. A man didn't keep house. So he needed a partner. He needed a woman that did that other side. Now, if you look at it from a lady's point of view, the lady, now she wasn't in the workforce then. She didn't bring food home. She needed a man to do that other thing that she didn't do. By us telling our kids to do all those things alone, are we making our marriages and our relationships based more on a want versus based on a need? And then does that make it easier for us to say, well, I don't want it anymore, so I'm done?
A relationship should be based on want. I don't want to be with nobody just because I need them. You know what I'm saying?
Wait
No,
a minute.
I don't want to be with nobody like I can't, you know what I'm saying? Like,
but how would it be then?
If you're talking about a relationship, right?
Right.
And I know what you're referring to. That's kind of like old school. You know what I mean?
It is. It is.
Where
you
the
needed
women
each other,
stayed home and took care of the kids,
right?
But in this day and age, you need 2 incomes. You know what I mean? You need to be able to work together. Like it has to be, if it's going to be a dependency, it has to be a mutual dependency.
Okay, now that's a good word. Okay, dependency. So, but then with that, even using that word, Terry, like I said, that's a good word, dependency. If we don't depend on each other because we can stand on our own, then you know what I mean. And this is just a conversation. Like, I mean, don't I'm just kind of it sounds crazy, but listen. But Terry, this is the question though.
You get your male chauvinist on right now.
How is that being a male chauvinist though? What I'm trying to get at is, with us doing things the way that we're doing it now, will we continue to see the divorce rate and families not remaining together because there is no dependency? We're just together because we like being together, and then when we're tired of it and don't want it anymore, you're done with it because there's no dependency.
You have that exactly backwards.
What do you mean? Like,
Because
okay, go ahead. Well, Pat
divorce
says
rate
strong, too strong. Strong or too strong? What does she mean by that?
I don't
Hey,
know.
Pat, you got to come on.
Come on and tell us what you're talking about.
Right.
Hey,
This
but
is
no,
broad
Stacey,
level.
you got
Go
that
ahead.
exactly backwards.
What do you mean, Nike?
Because the divorce rate and all of that is going up because of dependency.
What do you mean?
So you got a brother that's working, he taking care of this chick, blah blah blah. She claimed he love her, he claimed he love her. Oh, but he got laid off yesterday. Now she looking at him, and then in 6 months he hadn't been able to find a job, or he ain't got the same job, or he ain't making the same money, or it took him a while to get another job, so their bills are behind. You know what I mean?
Right.
So now she looking at him a little sideways, like, you know what I mean? Women are concerned about stability.
Pat said, "How did she come in?" Nike, can you put the link up there real quick?
Yeah, I did.
Hey, Pat. Yeah, he's gonna put the link up. All you have to do, Pat, is in that. Click on that link, and it'll bring you on. But Terry, don't forget your thought, man. You gotta finish that. You gotta finish that thought.
No. So
click
what
on
I'm
the link,
saying
Pat.
is, that dependency. If she's totally dependent on him because of income or that kind of deal, as soon as that income is gone, she looking like,
wow.
You know what I mean, man, like now, women like stability.
Right.
They are a different type of creature. They like to be, they want to be known, they want to know that they're taken care of. They don't want to have to worry about, when we gonna get our next meal or when we gonna get our next check. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, now the scenario that you laid out, Nike, I think that I told Pat to click on that link. Terry just put the link out there, Pat. All you have to do is click on it.
Oh,
and it'll bring you in there.
Put it on the which college,
in the chat. He's gonna put it in the chat. Yeah. See, I think the scenario that you put out there, Nike, might have been a little different than what I was thinking about. Because you're talking about a person that, like you said, gets laid off or something like that and can no longer provide.
But that's that dependency.
See, but I don't know if that's what I was referring to though. There's Pat. Is that Pat?
Yeah.
We're gonna bring Trish on.
There you go.
Was that better?
Better.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Now I can't hear you.
Yes, we can hear you. Okay.
She can't hear us though.
Can you hear us?
Now I can't hear you.
Yes, we can. There you go.
Okay.
That's good. That's good.
Perfect.
No feedback. All right.
All right. So what are your thoughts, Pat?
On which title?
Let's do the last one. When we talking about the question was, is our individualism affecting our families? Is it pulling us apart? The fact that we are teaching our kids to be individuals and not need a woman or a man. How does that affect us? What are your thoughts? To be individuals and not need a woman or a man. How does that affect us? What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I think we should raise our children to be totally self-sufficient no matter what. I didn't raise my son to depend on a woman. I raised my son to be able to wash, clean, and do everything for himself. If a woman comes in his life and she's able to do that and more, then that's a plus for him. But I didn't raise him to say, you know what, I can do all this, what I need you for. I didn't raise him for that.
Okay.
And same thing for my daughters, to be totally self-sufficient. If a man can give you whatever a man gives you, he shouldn't have to. He should do it because he wants to.
Right.
That should be extra.
Right.
Okay.
Now, and that.
So my question becomes, if we no longer need each other, if there's not a need, does that also contribute to us not staying together because we don't need each other. If you need something, if it's a need, you have to think 3 and 4 and 30 times before you get out of it because there's a need. The fact that we teach each other not to need each other, does that in itself play a role in our families not remaining together? In itself play a role in our families not remaining together. In itself,
there has to be a need. You understand what I'm saying? There has to be a need, but I don't think families value a need as much as they should. Like, you know, once, like if you're together, you're a unit. If it's just one man, one woman, you're a couple, you're still a unit. It doesn't need to be a man and a woman and 1,000 kids to be a unit. You two together, you're a unit.
But Pat,
but of course you need each other or you wouldn't be together.
Right.
But you should balance each other out.
You should what?
You should be able to balance each other out.
True.
Right.
True. Terry, were you about to ask a question?
It's like I don't want a woman to actually need me. I want her to be with me because she wants to be with me. You get what I'm saying? Because, you know, everything could be rosy, if I got a certain amount of money or if I'm doing this and I'm doing that and everything's good. I don't want our relationship to be based on that. I want our relationship to be based on mutual love and respect. Based on that.
Then if you meet someone like that, then that's not a good fit for you if all she wants is your money and what you can do for her.
Right.
Well, that's
what is she doing for herself?
But that's what I'm saying. That's where I think Stace was talking about a woman needing a man.
I mean, and this is just a question. I'm not saying that this is my. I'm not saying it's my perspective. I want to get Pat said Stace in the cave somewhere. But I mean, I'm just what I'm doing is just looking at relationships and looking at how our relationships are and how we raise our kids versus the way that it was before. Families stayed together longer before because there was a need there. You needed that person because there were some things that you couldn't do by yourself, so you had to be there. So that was part of my question. I mean, are we the way that we're doing things now? Is it setting it up so that families will continue to not remain together? Because again, it's just a want, and it's real easy to cast a want to the side versus casting something to the side that's going to hurt you because you need it. A want to the side versus casting something to the side that's going to hurt you because you need it.
I agree.
A want
to the side versus casting something to the side that's going to hurt you.
I think we got that. You agree with that?
All right.
I agree.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Pat. Thank you for joining us.
Coming on.
It's good to see you, Pat. Thanks for coming on. All right.